The new COVID guidelines for nightclubs, live events, bars and restaurants should be finalised by this evening after a round of meetings yesterday and more due today. But independent TD for Clare, Michael McNamara, had questioned the legal basis of the government's actions in the Dáil. And Michael McNamara, thank you for joining us in studio. Tell us about that concern you raised in the Dáil.
Well, I suppose, look, it's a central tenet of law that you can access the law and regulate your behaviour accordingly. Now, on many occasions through this pandemic, the Minister has published laws after they were supposed to come into effect. So people can't even access what the law is. Gardaí were being sent out to enforce the law on a Saturday morning. It wasn't published until later that day. It might have been signed late on Friday night. And I mean, we need to learn from the mistakes of the past, and clearly this is Groundhog Day to the extent that we haven't even seen the guidelines. Nightclubs are expected to open up tomorrow night, and they don't even know yet whether they'll be able to serve people at the bar, something as basic as that, much less the laws that ground those guidelines. So, I mean, we knew for some time now that this was on the cards. I mean, while a cabinet decision hadn't been made, it was very well flagged in advance that it wasn't going to be the abandonment of restrictions that had been promised. And yet, here we are on the eve of introducing these. No laws, no guidelines, and no ability for businesses to prepare in advance, because, they're going to have staff on. We don't even know what's going to happen with under 18s. Up to now, over 18s have to be vaccinated. What about under 18s? Because while there are a lot of nightclubs going to go ahead, there's also a whole raft of youth discos, because they've had no opportunity to go to lawfully. I mean, there's been groups criticised, now we're vilifying the unvaccinated. Before it was students, and before that it was people who travelled. But young people have had no opportunity to congregate, so there's a lot of youth club discos planned right across the country for this weekend, and perhaps for a number of weekends to go. We don't know what the regime will be with regard to vaccination of those under 18s.